Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are very proud to have you here, and we are very proud to have the chance to make a pre-opening at the Sauer booth of the 2012 IWA. And I want to send you over a warm welcome from the whole Sauer team, also on behalf of our owners, Michael Lüke and Thomas Oertmeier. This morning we come together to show you the 2012 news, not only in the all-day hunting things, having new solutions to very dedicated hunts, to special passionate hunts, but also show you some artistry. As being the oldest gun manufacturer from Germany, I think it's our obligation to live that perfect symbiosis of high-end technology and the craftsmanship of our fathers and grandfathers. And today we want to give you an impression about what we can do for the nowadays and for the years to come, and what we have learned from the fathers and grandfathers. And we hope that you will like it, that you will be impressed, and you will find a lot of new impressions and motivations for your business, for your magazines, well, and for your everyday hunting. So don't listen too much for the words to come. Let's have a look at some rifles. And we're gonna start with guns that really make you feel the hunt. We say you have to have the chance to get there where the hunt is. So what we did with some guns that you know from the actual portfolio, like the 202 Forest, to make it a bit more tough, to give you the chance to really go into the brushes. The boar hunters know that sometimes you have to go very deep inside there to meet them and finally to hit them and get out as the winner of that battle. So welcome with us the Sauer 202 and the Sauer 303 Forest XT. But if you wanted to have it even more tough, you need it a bit shorter. And this is the Sauer 303 hardwood. But then you all know that outside Germany there are animals who can go after you instead of you going after them. And so you should have some big arguments coming with you. And this then is the Sauer 202 Hatari. So the thing then as a 202 Sauer Hatari XT is the same gun with the synthetic stock. We always think about what can we do on the real noble way of hunting. So a side-by-side, this to me personally, it's one of the most beautiful guns that you can build. And we did a lot of thinking how we can bring that into a price range, which is a bit more affordable for the one or the other. And together with a partner, a very small manufacturer, we realized the side-by-side elegance and side-by-side magma. The magma, you see it, Dominic has it in his hands. It's a color case hardened receiver. Then it's a granite-rated receiver on the elegance, both hand engraved. A bit similar to an old engraving from the pre-war J.P. Sauer and Son side-by-sides. We talk about chopper lump barrels, a detachable Holland type sidelock, and a craftsmanship that really brings it to the point where we can say we are proud of having a new Sauer side-by-side, additionally to our famous Meisterwerk shotgun in the portfolio. Then, of course, we have been thinking about making precision feelable, that you really are with your gun. And you know the GTI, the thumbhole stock, wooden stock for the 303, wooden stock for the 202. Now with the 303, I think we brought it to the limit. We call it the Sauer 303 Synchro XT. So of course, again, we are very proud to show you some artistry, some artwork with again some themes that we try to bring in the gun, because it's not just engraving. We just don't want to do any kind of scrolls. No, we want to tell a little story. And the first gun that comes again has the theme of Africa. It's called the African Adventure, a 416 Remington Magnum takedown, engraved by Florian Güllert. And together with Marco Frühauf, master gunsmith from Schleusingen, we always realize handmade breech loaders. And here we did some very, very special thing. It's the so-called Sauer Sanglier Emalar. That means what you see here is a 9.3 by 74R double rifle with a spare barrel in 20-76 gauge. The next thing is a very, very German version of a combined gun. This is the Büchsflinte, a combined rifle called Weidmannsheil. Then you all know that in 2009 we moved from Eckernförde to Isny. I'm a born native Bavarian. Now when we look out of our window in the company, and on a good sunny day you can see the Alps. And to me this is something where your heart opens up and you said, look at those mountains, and this is a way of glory. It's a magnificent landscape. And we said, okay, what can we do on this? We're gonna make a gun that is called the Glorious Alps. The chamois in his habitat with a very, very traditional, now I don't know what Edelweiss, you know that flower in the mountain, I don't know what that is in English. Is there any expert who knows what Edelweiss means in English? Edelweiss, well Edelweiss means Edelweiss, so, so a very traditional Edelweiss engraving with golden inlays. Now see that grade 11 walnut stock, so that gun really is a classic. Now you have seen the two shotguns that we have in our actual and new portfolio with the Holland type sidelocks. But in history of gun making, there is one sidelock that experts say that's beyond any compare, which is the Sauer & Son sidelock. And again, together with Marco Frühauf, we brought back that sidelock to life. That means it's completely different in its inner techniques, and it follows some certain physical rules where you say you have the perfect trigger pull, you have the perfect combination of all levers and all hammers inside that gun, and this is the Sauer Meisterwerk-Flinte. And when we talk about our guns and the rifles that we have in the portfolio, we know that the most powerful gun that we have, of course, is the Sauer 303. So we want to bring in two things. First of all, a Celtic ornament, because we have one engraver, which is Wolfgang Wojciechowski, who in my opinion is one of the best Celtic engravers on that planet. So as we now have 6 of the guns here in our racks, you see that we also have a new booth. We want it a bit more open. We want to have the rifles being the main players on the booth, not any big furniture or something. And as you see the actual portfolio, our Sauer 202s, 303s, takedowns, all that we have, all that we brought with us, all we make our daily business with. As I told you, the artistry, the relation to the old times is what really makes a gun a J.P. Sauer & Son. So let that artistry arise into the booth. Ladies and gentlemen, see the fight of the gladiators, so what we all need is a thumb. Now see the Austrians. I see the majority with the thumb up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for that ancient fight. The thumb is up, both are alive. So what you have seen here is the ancient fight Ladies and gentlemen, we made a gun that we never did before. To an extent of artistry, to an extent of metal artwork. And as you have seen, the fight between those two gladiators, it's called the Sauer II Gladiator. What is the story? Of course, it is that weird, it's that crazy, that tough fight for life and death in the old Rome. And it's a metaphor for the art of weapon, for the art of fighting in all its ill and sick thinking of those emperors at that time. But it's something to all of us where we say, how could those guys do that? How could they go into that arena and fight for life and death with an artistry, with a power that cannot be imagined? So we said we have to bring the theme into a rifle, and it's not only a rifle, you know, Sauer, when we make it a gun like that, we make it a story. So you see here a sculpture of Gabriele Haslinger, a very famous sculpturist from Germany. And you see a lion on a chain to a wall. You might know that fights. Those two guys, if they had been in the ancient times, and one of them might have been a bit cowardly and running away, he would have come in the circle of that guy. So they really made sure that they fight against each other and not one running after the other. So then the whole theme of Rome, you see the aqueduct running into the city, which is in all that metal artwork made by Marco Frühauf. You see the water in a silver coming into a building, which is the Therme, where the Romans have been sitting, warming themselves up, feeling comfortable. But of course it would not be a Sauer if this would not be a scope mount. You simply take that roof off, and then you have a swing side mount. Well, everything on the gladiator theme is carried by Senatus Populusque Romanus, the SPQR. And what do you find at the bottom of the gun? In a full gold inlay. And you can take even lenses, you will not see any gap, not hundreds of a millimeter between that wood and that gold, and you will see what artwork means when we do it. And this is the SPQR running in that theme. Then you see the two gladiators fighting. A sword and a shield, and a net, and a 3-pin spear. And of course, this is the fight on life and death. And you see the helmet of that young man. Well, we all know if he is young or not, because it was an anonymous fighter. It was a warrior in that arena. And we wanted to bring that into that gun, where you see that helmet of the fighter. And now we have one great advantage in comparison to the spectators of Rome. We can open up the helmet and see that man behind it. And here you see fully engraved the fighter in the inside of the helmet. It's not an anonymous warrior. It was a human being, it was a slave, it was a man coming from anywhere, really fighting to survive. And those people yelling and crying in the Colosseum in Rome, it was just a golden helmet, fighting for their fun and for their party. No, there is the human being. And as you have seen where we raised our thumbs, I remember the Austrians didn't you go that way. We talk about that. Those guys gonna talk about. You see the scene where the one gladiator is asking the people, what shall I do with him? And of course the fight always ended with something very sad. The big victory and the big loss. And this is engraved on the back of that gun, where the dead gladiator is brought out of the Colosseum. The bolt handle is made the whole globus, the whole world, of course, with the Roman Empire at that time, the ruling empire at that time, the ruling culture. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we talk here is the gun-making quality of a J.P. Sauer & Son 202. It is Marco Frühauf with metal artwork. It's master engraver Hendrik Frühauf. And have a look at those details. It'll gonna take you hours to figure all the things out that he brought into that theme. Who did that engraving? It's Ursula Bertele, goldsmithing manufacturer in the south of Germany, doing that helmet. It's again Marco Frühauf, who did the polishing on the grade 11 wood. Hendrik did the checkering, the outer lines, which is absolutely unusual. It's Gabriele Haslinger doing a bronze sculpture. And in the end, it's Dietmar Heckelsmüller having made this, that everything is presented like in the old Rome. And we are proud to have you here this morning, that you have seen that gun, because you can imagine I haven't seen such a gun before, and it's such a pleasure to show it to you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, now, let me say again, thank you that you have stood up such early in the morning. I hope you did not regret 1 minute of what we let you know this morning. So let's raise our glasses on a successful IWA, on a good show, and now very egoistic on the next 261 years of J.P. Sauer & Son. Cheers. Please feel free, come into the booth, have a look at all those guns. You have to come closer to see what we did and what we can do. Please feel free, come in.